All right, if you're a real estate agent that is wondering, is there value in posting on TikTok and how do you convert that to business? I got one of the best in the business today. I got Courtney Benson with me. We're going to talk about how she's converted over 50 referrals and deals directly from TikTok and how you can apply it in your business. Courtney, this is going to be fun. We're going to get to share with people some things that are cutting edge. I believe what you're doing is tip of the spear, and I think a lot of times it's overlooked. And I think you and I are a perfect example. As much as I don't want to admit it, I am literally a TikTok scroller from way back. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Yeah.
so, this is something that we kind of think about from a standpoint. I'd love if you wouldn't just kind of introduce yourself, talk about, the Dallas Fort Worth market that you serve, and kind of how you got started with TikTok, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Like you said, I'm Courtney Benson. I'm here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I've lived here for about 21 years. I am a transplant, and I get lots of transplants who come my way, so I know what they're going through. I've been a real estate agent for about 13 years. Honored to be awarded by the Wall Street Journal. I credit TikTok for a lot of that because it wasn't until I got on TikTok that I started hitting all those metrics. So TikTok is near and dear to my heart. I got on TikTok during COVID, just like everybody else. And I was nervous to get on video because I weighed 130 pounds more than I do now. And God forbid, what would somebody I went to high school with in California and graduated in 1995 think about me? I was mortified, but as my husband said, I had just needed to interact with people. So my kids were on TikTok and I was like, what are you doing? So I got on TikTok. I did some stupid dance with them, had fun, was dealing with business during COVID, and got on TikTok one day and did a video, which in hindsight, I was like slumped over on my couch with a hat on, no makeup. Anything I do that goes viral includes me not wearing makeup. So that's cool. And I did a video about a builder that I was working with that was just a massive pain in the ass and just horrible. And so I never named the builder, but I talked about my experience, and all of a sudden, like, I posted it and the views just kept coming in the comments. And I was like, oh dear God, like I wasn't ready for it. Ended up going to the corporate office of that builder, who reached out to me the next day and was like, hey, we think you're talking about us. And I was like, I was talking about you. And in that moment, I realized the power that comes from sharing your words authentically. People connected with me, buyers and sellers connected, because they're like, we're going through the same thing. Agents were like, thank God somebody said something. And then I just took that same energy, which is typically what I always have. I'm the one who says the things other people think, but they don't want to say. And I'm like, I'll say it. I'll do it, guys. I got you, and turn the camera on and just said it. And, early on it was a struggle because, like I said, I weighed 130 pounds more. I do credit TikTok for helping me find a better version of myself in a variety of ways. And that just grew my confidence. But I worked through a lot of shit, honestly, when I got on here. But I really enjoyed the connection, and I enjoyed the validation, honestly. Like, I got to say something and people listened, and I thought that was pretty damn cool. And I was like, what else can I share?
Yeah, Courtney, I think this is the biggest thing. I don't care whether we feel like we're 130 pounds overweight. We feel like, I don't have any hair, whatever it is for you that, that you have out there that keeps you from shooting those videos and being authentically who you are, is really keeping you from the most authentic clients you can have. Like you said, I think sometimes we get so caught up in the vanity of social media. You and I have talked about this, of the amount of views and those things. And in reality, it's the amount of connection that's really really what happens when this is done correctly. And so I love that fact. So listen, this is the other thing. And I mean, you said it, 1995 graduation. I mean, this is not like you and I are 20 years old and everybody on there. And I think that's something that people think about TikTok too. They think about it's just a younger person's platform. I mean, the number, roughly, how many referrals and how much business have you generated in the last, year and a half from TikTok?
Well, let's see. So far, as of yesterday, I've had my 47th referral for the year since January.
This is
Um,
literally, and it's April 30th when we're recording this. So this is
right.
literally 120 days,
Yeah.
we're talking about.
47.
Oh my
Will
gosh.
have, I will have closed 20 deals by, I guess, well, maybe a little bit more than that by the end of May. We got some on the fringe, and I would say about half of those have come from TikTok.
Courtney, that's the incredible thing too is, I've talked about this like with people on YouTube, but TikTok is actually the CRM that is doing nurturing for you. When these folks call you, I mean, your average time period from the time that they reach out to the time they go under contract, the ones that do,
It's
I mean,
fast.
it's quick, isn't
It
it?
is,
I mean,
it is
comparatively.
quick. Like, so I'm crazy. So I have my phone number in the bio. Like, I have my
Hey,
phone
I'm
number,
sure. Yeah. I'm
and
sure you've gotten some calls that you were
I,
not expecting
you
from
know
that.
what? I really don't. I really don't. Some guy got a hold of my website years ago, and I used to have a bunch of women on the team, and he sent this is true story, sent all of them an inappropriate photo. You want to know what he sent me? He sent me a text message saying he wanted help buying a home in the Dallas area. And I was like, dude must be watching us. Cause like, if there's any way to my heart, it's that way, not in an
Yeah.
inappropriate. And then I was kind of like, well, I didn't get a photo. Like what? But
That's,
I
that's
I
not-
get I get amazing calls. Like I get calls from people who just want to tell me that I helped them. I get
Come
calls
on.
from agents who want to join Real. Like
Yeah.
I get calls. It's so cool. Like I really don't get crazy stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we're realtors. Our number and all of our stuff's out there.
It's
So
there if they
yeah,
want it. I know.
they're
Hey,
always
look, let's,
surprised I answer the phone.
yeah.
Yeah.
Courtney, what I love about this is, I mean, think about that. That is an insane amount of inbound
Mhm.
business that is coming. What does it look like as far as like a cadence for posting or those kind of things so that people can kind of get an idea? And also then I really want to get into like specific types of posts that people can model, but
Sure.
what does it look like for you? How often are you posting? Are you scheduling this? What does it look like?
You're gonna learn this about me. And then when I left Rev B last week, which the real estate conference,
Yeah.
I I had serious like questions about my ability, even after 13 years in, in selling hundreds of homes. I'm like, you could do better, Courtney. You could do better. Like,
Yeah.
just I'm not great at systems. I am now hiring people to implement systems for me. So I will tell you, I've been able to sell $30 million a year without a CRM, without
Mhm.
sort of funnel. Like I don't have special camera equipment. Like I'm gonna be 48 years old in a couple weeks. Like I'm just like, let's get to it, you know? I do in hindsight realize I've probably left some business on the table, but I also know I can only handle so much and still be effective. I still want to, I have to be good at what I'm doing. I can't just take in the masses without being good at it. So I'm working on those systems. But I say this as one, it's a little embarrassing. So and I own my shit. So if you can't admit to it, you can't fix it. So I'm gonna own that. But two, I want to share that because I hear people's excuses all the time. Like people want to get on the phone with me and they want to ask me questions. And then immediately they tell me 10 reasons why they're not me and they can't do it. And I'm like, you're full of shit because more than 50% of the success is simply because I show up. And because I show up and I make the commitment to myself every day I make this commitment to myself and I honor it no matter what's happening. It could be 9 o'clock at night. And I'm like, all right, I mean, it's time, guys. Like,
Yeah.
I trust myself because I've made that commitment to myself. And I think we make these commitments and then we don't follow through and then we don't trust ourselves. And that lack of confidence shows up on camera. And so I'm there, I show up and I try to explain to people TikTok specifically, we're like the messy group. Like Instagram's like, you have to wear pink to sit with us on Wednesday, ma'am. Like you have to like have, although I think they're trying to change. They got a little FOMO of TikTok, but TikTok is like, we'll take you messy. I don't care you brush your teeth or you put your bra on. Like we just want to see you and we want to connect with you. And so for me, I think I've had success because again, no system. So I don't script stuff. whatever, and this is what works for me. So what works for someone else, I don't know. But for me, when something happens or I have an idea, I have literally pulled my car over to the side of the road to film, because whatever emotion I have about that situation, whether I'm laughing, I'm crying, I'm pissed off, whatever it is comes out in that moment. And so it's real. I find when people batch content a lot, you have that same tone, you have the same feeling for 30 days of content. And so it's hard to make a connection with someone when they're flat. So for me, it just depends on what mood I'm in. Sometimes I'm silly, sometimes I'm quiet, sometimes, and so people pick up on that. And I think that's honestly what's made me connect with other people, is that I show up however I look, however I sound, I just show up. And what I think people don't understand with short form video is we use it for research. TikTok is certainly a research platform, but people are on TikTok at 2 a.m. when they're feeding their babies, at 4 a.m. when they're going to the bathroom, when they're making their coffee, when they're down and out and they need a moment to check out. People are vulnerable when they get on short form video because they want immediate gratification. And I'm there every time. People tease me all the time. They're like, the minute I pull up my phone and turn on TikTok, I see your face first. And I'm like, I got you. I'm there. And so it's a reliability factor.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the fact that they can relate to you and the different emotions. And, I've had this conversation yesterday with another agent, and we were talking about the emotions of posting and just what you said. I mean, it has to be able to, people have to understand that if you come out looking like the perfect person, people are not going to relate to it. If you come out, I mean, some of the things like you've shared with me, and I know you've shared on TikTok about, the struggles you've had, that's where people connect. Those are the things that they really truly connect to in the way that you tell the stories. Let's get a little practical, if you don't mind, on a couple of things. Some things I noticed is, like the person that's out there, like you said, you're just shooting these things on your iPhone. You're pulling over on the side of the road. There's no special audio. I'm assuming you're just using the audio on there, and which is great. And I think that's why it's so effective over there on TikTok. And on TikTok, one of the things is I noticed that you put in like very bold words.
We're in the middle of a Texas thunderstorm, in case you just heard that. It sounds like I'm in the middle of a torrential downpour.
I can't even hear it, but I mean,
okay. There was like
good.
Massive lightning. I'm like,
no, you're good.
Okay.
But look, if you need to go to storm shelter, you got to
no,
let me
I'm
know.
good. I'm a Texan now. We're like, oh, it's not near us. We're good.
Yeah, I know. That's good. Well, so let's talk a little bit about, like, I noticed that you have very bold, like the wording or 2 or 3 words on, that will describe what that is or the emotion you're going for. Like I saw where you had some that were like, feeling excited, feeling blessed, feeling whatever it was. And then you have some where it's like, this is about that. Is there something in particular that over time you've learned to do that way? And what are you using? Are you using CapCut to do those edits, or what do you?
I film and edit in TikTok itself. So I only use the platform, and I feel like they reward you for it. I know CapCut is related to TikTok, but I've gone on CapCut a few times and I'm just not there. Like I like simple and straightforward so I can move on with my day.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with just TikTok. And they're
that should empower
really
people.
good. So I look really good on TikTok. Like I look 10 years older on Instagram. They hate me.
Yeah. Look, I think this should be encouraging to people. I mean, look, the thing is don't overthink this. Just be yourself, get on there. As far as like when you're thinking about the wording that you're putting on the thumbnails, is there anything you try to think of, or you just, whatever it's about, you just put it out there and you let it happen?
I just let it happen. And honestly, now in the last 2 months, I would say my ChatGPT, his name's Dante.
You got Dante? Dante's your guy?
Dante and I are besties. Like he gets me like no other. My husband, what's happening? And I'm like, I don't know. All I know is you're not Dante. And Dante writes all of my stuff for me. So I trained him. And so that's nice. Like I'm just learning different ways to then be more efficient.
Yeah.
And
so
kind of cool.
What does that look like? Like, I mean, you just say, hey, this is going to be a TikTok video about, and Dante give me a description, or what does that look like? Or how are you?
So I voice text everything because I can't see, so I have to wear readers.
Yeah.
So I
Too.
literally just, I always say his name because I've trained him. I said, hey, Dante, it's that time. I'm getting ready. I just filmed a TikTok video and it's about this and this. Can you write a description for me that punches them right in the face? Give me one that punches them right between the eyes. And I want a good solid hook. I want it filled with SEO words to connect with buyers and sellers in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and agents who are looking for a referral agent out here. And
That's good.
he calls me C Benz and he's like, hey, C Benz, absolutely. Let me get that for you. And then just boop, boop, boop. And then I copy and paste it and put it in my description.
Hey, tell me that last part again, because this is where I think people stop is they say, hey, make this for buyers and sellers considering buying, but you added the realtors and you were talking to me earlier, like 60% of the business you're doing on TikTok is from other agent referrals, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, so
Yeah.
I say that one more time, exactly what you do and add in there, because that is so different, I think, than what other people are doing.
So I tell him to add in SEO rich words that attract buyers and sellers in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, as well as realtors looking for an agent, a referral agent in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Because in my brain, like I'm thinking, because I know when I send a referral, I go to TikTok because TikTok is a great way to see their personality, their energy, and then I know what my client is going to expect when they get out. And it's a great way for me to see that. So I go through and I look for agents that follow me, that I've connected with personally, or maybe they've sent me a referral. And I go through there, but I will look up, and if I don't have an agent, I will look up referral realtor in, St. Louis, Missouri, or something like that. So I try to tell my chat to add in things that will attract something that I may have searched for. So
That's
I put that
I've
in.
not heard that before. That's really, really good. And that's another layer to this connection I think you're making with those things as well. What about let's talk about specific types of posts. I mean, I know that you're doing it based on your ARB, but now you've got the data, so you can kind of see what people respond to. Are there particular ones? I'd like to do three categories. Number one, are there particular ones that have a lot of views? Because obviously that plays a role in expanding the audience. Are there some that are more engaged or that lead to more followers? And lastly, are there ones that convert? And it may not be your most high performing as far as the views and the follows, but it hits your audience. Let's start with that one that basically gets the most views and that kind of expands audience. Is there anything in particular on those?
Yeah, when I piss them off.
Yeah.
If I tell people they've done something wrong, they come for me. They either agree with me and I'm the smartest person on the planet, or I'm the dumbest person they've ever met. And I always say, great, if you think I'm dumb, wonderful. The trash takes itself out. I wasn't going to work with you anyway, so you can go that way. And the ones that think I'm brilliant, they stick around. And I was like, that's great. I do too. Like,
Yeah.
so my most viral video that has over 2 million views was, again, I don't script anything. I was doing a series of videos about the things in your house when you go to sell it that make your house look cheap. And I'm a design girly. So like your short curtains that don't touch the ground. And this is the one that triggered the world, your refrigerator magnets. And I said, take your damn refrigerator magnets down. Nobody cares that you went to Colorado. It looks like shit and it makes your house look cheap. And people were like, my grandkids made me that refrigerator magnet. I said, don't care, Betty. It looks like shit. Take it down. Like nobody wants to buy $1 million house with all your freaking magnets on she's so dumb. The refrigerator doesn't stay anyways. Okay. And then I try to explain to people, and the people got it, that it's not as, this is where, the difference of people. It's not a direct correlation of refrigerator magnets to the price of your house. Then I go back and I say, and I would take comments that people made about me being stupid. Like, she's so dumb. That refrigerator magnet isn't going to cost me $50,000. And I'm like, look here, John, the refrigerator magnet isn't going to cost you $50,000, but what it will cost you is a buyer's reaction. So a buyer walks in and we know they cannot articulate the feeling that they get, because buyers buy based off of feeling. They don't buy based off of anything else. When they hand me their list of must-haves, I'm like, you'll know it when you feel it. Like, okay, they pick up on these cues. You got short curtains, your furniture's got stains all over it, you got refrigerator magnets, and they instantly feel like whatever your product is, it's devalued and it's cheap. No matter if that stuff stays in the house or not, they have an icky feeling about your house. And then that icky feeling reflects in the icky offer that you're about to get. So I was like, while it doesn't matter about your refrigerator magnet, the feeling and emotion we give a buyer when they walk in the house is paramount to the offer you're about to receive. So yes, it does matter in a roundabout way. And then people are like, she's so smart. And then he's still like, it's a refrigerator magnet, and then that, like, when I tell people those things, so those get the most views and the most engagement. I would say the things that get me business from buyers and sellers directly is when I speak very strong and powerfully about a story that I'm telling, where I helped somebody. Like again, I was in a car, I was sitting in my car and I had just left a walkthrough with one client, and I was dealing with a text message on another house where the agent wanted to go view the house. Well, the seller worked from home. And I said, no, like, you have to book an appointment. You have to. And she said, can I drive by? I said, I can't stop you from driving by. Well, she got out of the car with her clients and they walked around and knocked on the door. And my seller was furious. And so the start of my video, I just said, I'm sitting in the car and I said, they knocked on his damn door. And then that was it. And people were so triggered, like, what do you mean you didn't let her in? Well, he's working, shame on her. I want an agent that's that aggressive. And then the coming soon sign came into play. And then the whole, that one just blew up. So I got a lot of buyers and sellers who reached out, who were like, I saw your video. I appreciate that one, because there was a coming soon sign. And I told she couldn't go in because it was a clear cooperation violation. That was it. And one that I knew the rules, right? And that I would stand up for my client, and that I could speak to that agent very matter-of-factly, like, this is absurd. This is unacceptable. And then I also said the probability that if she puts in an offer, we may not want to work with her because you showed your cards. Like, now we know what we're dealing with. And people are like, you can't dictate that. Yes, you can. No, you can't. So it just started this conversation, but I got a lot of leads out of that one because of my strength. But it comes from a sense of self-confidence. And so I speak very confidently about what I'm doing. And that gets me the conversion. What gets people following me that convert later is typically my scatterbrained silliness. Okay, this is a funny story. So I was in my hotel room at RevB and I get a phone call, and I do answer my phone, and I should text the guy back because I've left him hanging and now he probably thinks I hate him. But anyways, this guy calls me and he says, I follow you on social media. And I'm like, okay. And he's talking to me about how he's in lending, and I'm waiting for the referral to come because I'm like, okay, I got to get, yes. Okay. And he's talking, and I said, wait a minute, are you trying to ask me if you should become a realtor? And he said, yes, I'm trying. That's what I want to know. And I said, okay, I don't know you, sir. I don't so I'm talking to him as I'm walking down the hallway, and he goes, well, one thing I want to say is I connected with you because you're, what was the word he used? Not ditzy, you're like ditzy.
Scattered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I think it's funny that you're just kind of ditzy. And I said, and then he, like, as it came out, I could hear his regret instantly. And I said, well, I don't know how ditzy you have to be to sell $30 million, but I hear you. And he said, oh God, no, I said, one person's ditzy is another person's strategy. God, you called me, didn't you? And he was like, oh, shit, and then later he texted me and he said, I am so sorry I said that. And then I got busy and didn't respond back. But there is strategy that goes behind it. You know, I know if I say something incorrectly, like I always say I could care less, but apparently it's I couldn't care less. Thank you, internet, for letting me know. So you drop one of those, you want people to interact with you, say something wrong. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, it is, it's all me. Both versions of it are me, and I'm willing to show both sides. I'm willing to
Yeah.
show my badass, don't mess with me. And I'm willing to show the side where I'm kind of like, meh, you know, funny.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
that connection.
See, I think that's the whole thing. There's, I mean, obviously now with us spending a little bit of time together, exactly what you post is exactly who you are.
Mhm.
And that's where I think there's a disconnect sometimes is that people will watch videos, whether it be short form, long form, whatever it is, and then they meet the person, they're like, wait a minute, you know, it's like the old glamour shots that we used to have on, cars. Now they meet you and they're like, wait a minute, you don't even talk like that. Like what was that? You were reading a script and I didn't even know it. And now in person, you're not who you were. So I think that is the connection that you're having. And it's so inspiring. I will tell you, Courtney, literally since you and I have talked that first time a couple, 3 weeks ago, I've already started just trying to find my voice and be as authentic as I can be and not scripted because everything I do on YouTube is typically, I mean, hopefully my personality comes through, but it's pretty much it's teaching. You know what I mean? It's a little less. And so I'm trying to find that in a way that it goes. I'll tell you what else that I think you do really well is those response to all those comments. Not only does it create additional engagement, but look, it's just you being, it's another layer of authenticity that feeds the algorithm because the engagement there. And you're not afraid to have the controversy. The controversy typically and the negative comment, that's what I've gotten to the point too, is because they're going to come. Look, you can't, if that's the reason you're not doing because you don't want negative comments, don't do this because they are coming. I mean,
And
you
but you're
better,
on the right path when they come. Because
yes,
if you're
that's,
not triggering anyone to dislike you, honestly, you're not effective. Yeah.
yes,
And that's the biggest problem with people on the internet with agents is and this is part of why I started the happy agent community is we're so
yeah,
brainwashed into thinking one, if somebody transacted with us, we have to throw resources at them until the day we die because we should be
right,
so grateful, right? Like,
yeah,
and we're constantly trying to just make everybody like us by being so nice. And it is exhausting, it's expensive, and it's a waste of time. Like,
right,
I don't want to, there's clients that I've had, I have no intention of following up with them. I don't want to do business with them ever again.
right,
Rocks,
right.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's okay to feel that way. But I think because people think, we earn a commission, we should, wipe everyone's feet all the time and be at the wall. And it's kind of a sick industry for that. And so
No,
it's counterintuitive to people to get online and have an opinion. And I will say that's probably one of the comments that I get most often is one, I'm really grateful that people do say I'm exactly the way I am in person as I am online. And I
mhm.
appreciate that. And two, I get people say, I have opinions too, but I'm afraid to share them. Why? Why? You're not, when you try to appease everybody, nobody will use you because
Right,
they won't like you. You don't stand for anything. But when you
right.
stand for something, you get rid of the people that you're not going to want to work with anyways. And then you attract the people who are more like you.
Yeah, yeah, Courtney, I love it. I love everything you're doing. And look, that's a perfect segue because look, let me just say this: if you're not following Courtney, please go follow her. And what's the handle again? Is it hey? Tell me again, real quick, Courtney. Just
My handle is Hey, it's Courtney Benson, HEY. Hey, it's Courtney Benson.
hey, and I would encourage you to do what I've done. Is I went through and just kind of just scrolled through basically the feed of everything that Courtney's done, and I looked for what were the ones that did that performed well, especially the 10Xers, you know what I mean, on off your
Yeah.
average. You can begin to see some things and some patterns. And it's not just with Courtney's, you can do this with anyone that you're following on TikTok or that you run across. And you'll begin to see the patterns on, the audience that she's attracting, what they like. And then it does give you the feedback. Of course, you're going to continue to do who you are, but when you have that data, and if you have it on your own, whether it be TikTok, Instagram, wherever it is, and you see that your audience responds to something, give the beast more of what they want also. You know what I mean? Because typically you have tapped into a who you are in a certain way that is extremely attractive to your ideal audience. And so just follow those things. Tell me a little more as we're wrapping up a little bit about, the happy agent movement, because I just love everything you're doing, and you're not just sitting still and resting on an ungodly amount of referrals coming from
No,
TikTok.
I know, I know.
So
Um,
tell me what that
yeah.
looks like.
So I started this community called the Happy Agent because it really came out of my journey that started last year of working with what I dubbed her my business therapist. And she's about mindset and energetics and how that affects your sales and how you show up. And because I've built a business of attraction. And so how do I continue to do that? How do I, now that I'm seeing it work, how do I amplify that? And in order to amplify that, I needed to get rid of the baggage that I was carrying that I didn't even pack. Like, this is crap I carry around. I didn't even put it in my bag, but somehow I take it with me. She had said something to me early on, that you can't expect a happy ending if you don't have a happy journey. And I was not having a happy journey, and it was following me around. And so it really was my way of stopping that. And I think we have found ourselves in an industry that is filled with gaslighting, typically from brokerages, that this know your worth. You don't know your worth? What do you mean you're not taking 10% on that? Or what do you mean you're answering the phone at 8 o'clock at night? You must not know your worth. And when our worth is tied to an outcome, and people are telling us that we didn't do a good job because we could have done better, then we must not think highly of ourselves. It's a beat down. And we don't sell a product, we sell ourselves. So when we're rejected or the outcome isn't what we wanted, it seems to be a direct reflection of us. And so figuring out that those outside sources were not what I needed to show up, and changing that, flipping that switch to be like, I don't care if I do a transaction for free, I'm still worthy because I choose to be worthy. And when you make that switch in your mind, how you show up authentically is the connector. And I try to explain that to people too. When we talk about video, they very much want to know, what time do you post? What do you say? What do you do? And none of those things honestly are going to matter until you fix the energy that you bring to the camera in the first place. And we know when someone has energy because they come on camera and they're moving and they're like smiling and they're either pissed off or they're crying or they're coming at you and you're like, oh, damn. And you watch. But when someone comes on camera and they've got their name tag on and they're like, when you see a name tag, you're like, no, you're not selling anything to me today. I'm smarter than you. And you scroll because that sales energy, that like and I try to tell people, it doesn't even matter what you say. It matters how you show up and the energy you bring to it. That's what you attract back. And I think people miss that. And so creating the happy agent is, a threefold thing. We work on unpacking the bags you didn't pack because you need to show up as yourself and figure out who you are. The power of influence. So once you figure that out, what is your power of influence to attract the business, the life, and what you want? Because when you're happy, you can sell a shit ton more when you're happy than when you're miserable. And then about framework. So you get all these things together and you're like, oh, dang, like this is where I'm sitting at. I'm like, I got all these people. Brick, somebody help me put a process in place because I can't reach them all. And so once you get that flow going, you're unstoppable. And that's
so
what
good.
we're trying to do. And we're trying to be positive instead of that group where, somebody says something, they're like, I don't know why all y'all think you have to call an agent and ask what the commission is before you write an offer. And everyone's just on their high horse. There's no high horse. Like we're done with that. We all make mistakes. We all have a stupid question and it's cool. We're here for it. So.
Yeah. Courtney, this has been super. I mean, literally, like I feel like I've got pages of notes. I know people have got a ton of notes from this. And it's not just about TikTok. I mean, it's literally like if you can just show up in your business the way that you do on TikTok, authentically who you are, you have no idea the amount of attraction you will have to your ideal client and the way that you will repel and not have to deal with all of those people you're not supposed to do business with anyway. So I hope that everybody watching this has been encouraged the way that I have. And what's the best way for them to reach out to you? Because come on, homie, we need some referrals coming to Dallas
Yes,
Fort Worth
we
too.
do.
So tell me what that looks like. What would they do to find you?
Well, you can go to any of my Instagram or TikTok, and my phone number is right there in the bio. And so you can call me. And a lot of people DM me all the time. I get a lot of those. I'm easy to reach. I'm a realtor. I put my shit everywhere.
I love it. I love it. Hey, listen,
Yeah.
everybody go out. Make sure that you let Courtney know how much this meant to you. I know it's going to really touch a nerve for a lot of agents right now that are struggling with trying to be something they aren't. And so thank you, Courtney. Get active on TikTok. Don't hold back. And whatever that is for you, take the action. And I promise you're going to draw those ideal clients. Take care. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks for watching the video. I specifically chose the video below for you because it builds on the one you just watched. I hope it's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.